Hi there. In this episode, we'll be covering, do libraries buy self-published books? Getting your book in a library is such a powerful thing. It's such an awesome feeling to know that people can go take out your book, borrow it, and bring it back. And it allows you to pass your message to more people and reach new audiences. But here's the thing, if you don't follow the right process, your book's never going to end up in libraries at all. So you really need to follow these right steps in order to get that book into the library. By the end of this video, you will learn why Amazon isn't probably your best option, the importance of working with an outside distributor, and why buzz and reviews and attention on your book is so important. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. I remember a couple years ago when I published a book about a baseball player named Ken Caminiti, and it came out. I was really proud of it. And one of the first things I did after I went to the bookstore and had to sign the first copy I found and badgered the woman at the bookstore to be able to put the book in the right place, I went to the library. I went to the local library and said, hey, do you have my book? They're like, no. So I went to my car and brought a copy of the book over, and then I signed that one and put it there. I don't know if anybody's taken it out. I hope they have. It's in the local authors section at the library. It's a neat idea for me to think that somebody can randomly come across my book and find it and say, oh, this is something special. I want to check this out. Being in the library is such a powerful thing when you think about being a fan of books. You know, I love taking my son to the library or going with him to the library and just scanning around and seeing what we find, just random stuff. And then he finds new things and he learns new things and just opens and unlocks this new world that, you know, otherwise might not have been open. You know, it's just new worlds and ideas. And it's just so special when your book is included in there. You know, I think about how special the library has been for me across the years of, you know, being a lover and reader of books. So being in libraries is super meaningful and super important. But if you don't follow the right steps, it's likely that your book will never get there unless you do what I did and you bring it there yourself. I don't want you to have to do that. So let's explore that other option, the other side of it. So a lot of times when people publish their book, they think about Amazon. Amazon's the be-all, end-all. People want to have their book on Amazon and they think, okay, great, I'm number one in Amazon's categories that libraries are going to pick up my book. That's not necessarily the case. Yes, there's some exclusive distribution models, maybe for ebooks and Kindles, but by and large, libraries work through outside distributors beyond Amazon. So you can sell tons and tons of copies of your book on Amazon, but unless you're selling your book outside of Amazon, by and large, you're not going to be picked up by bookstores and libraries. The libraries are going to be shut out. It's a different system. You know, it's apples and oranges. You're playing this great game on the Apple side, but what about the oranges side? When I'm talking about outside distributor, that typically means a company called Ingram Spark. Ingram Spark works with bookstores and libraries to get your book in those places, to get any book in those places. There's elements that come into play and maybe things that they're interested in, but if your book isn't available in Ingram Spark, it's likely that your local library or your local bookstore will never even have the opportunity to buy it or to put it on the shelf. It's just not possible. But answering the question of this video, yes, libraries all the time buy self-published books. It's common. Yes, there's a leg up when you work with a traditional publisher, but traditional publishers are sold through the same platform that self-published books are in terms of Ingram Spark. This is the same platform that supplies books to Barnes & Noble and other places. Yes, there's NCAP agreements and other things that get pushed down when you traditionally publish, but self-published books are sold in the same way. So when a library is looking at buying books or picking up books to stock the shelves with, they're not necessarily focused on self-published, traditionally published. Yes, self-published gets a leg up there, but that's not the end thing. That's not the only thing that they're considering. They're considering the book itself, they're considering the topic, the reader interest in the topic. They may have people who are very interested in something similar to the book that you've written. So you need to have your book in Ingram Spark because it opens up this whole new world. Big thing to libraries is regional relevance. That's tying back to the story I was telling. If you are a regional author, a local author, it's more likely that a library is willing to have your book, to share your book, to put it on the shelf. But at the same time, it's not necessarily a prerequisite that you need to be a local author. They might just be interested in the topic. Maybe they're doing a display on a certain, issue, and your book is a great representation of that. It definitely helps when you're thinking about getting listed and appearing in libraries. It helps to have buzz and credibility behind your book. It helps to have success. It helps to have sales. It helps to have a lot of 5-star reviews, on different platforms. All of these things filter together to create this social proof that your book is worth reading and worth putting on the shelf. Book awards, nominations, big success with giveaways or promotions or other things. All these things factor together to create this patchwork of success for your book. And that's what you really want to see. You want to see this thing building and growing and taking off and lifting off. Again, though, it's really case by case, and it's interesting to think about the formats. It's interesting to think about your end goals. For example, there are some ebook distributors such as Ingram Spark does ebook distribution, Drafted Digital does ebook distribution. Sometimes libraries have exclusive licenses with different distributors. So at certain points, maybe it's Drafted Digital. At certain points, maybe it's KDP with Amazon. There's all these different elements at play that can affect the type of book that gets picked up in the library. Maybe it is an ebook, maybe it is a print book. It's important to really read and understand what you're getting into with that. If there's an exclusive element of KDP exclusives that wind up in libraries and you want that, you may be more inclined to only distribute your ebook through Kindle. So there's levers that get pulled, there's elements that come into play. It's important to do your due diligence because this ground is always shifting and evolving, but do your homework and really try to figure out what it takes to be in these spaces, what it takes to be in the library. But again, outside distribution is typically the best way if you're looking at a print book. Getting it in the library, outside distribution through Ingram Spark is a great way to go. If you want to learn more about do libraries buy self-published books, I'd love for you to check out another video I recorded. I'll link to it on the screen. It's called How to Get Your Self-Published Book Noticed. That video goes much deeper on all of the things that you can do as a self-published author to provide for your book's success. Descriptions, keywords, distribution, promotion on your side, owning this story, carrying it forward, and getting into the right reader's hands. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.